I was reading one research paper that said garlic is 6 times more potent than tetracycline. Now, tetracycline is a antibiotic. To have it as potent as an antibiotic or to play a role as an antibiotic, you must have 3 raw cloves a day. So an adult will have 3 raw cloves like that. For a child, you might halve the dose.
This stops cough and cold in just 30 minutes. As we age, our immune system weakens, making colds and coughs more frequent. However, don't worry too much. Nature has gifted us with a treasure trove of herbs and spices to help us naturally and effectively cope with illness. Garlic, ginger, honey, lemon, turmeric, onions. Each one brings its own unique benefits. Garlic helps with antibacterial action. Ginger reduces inflammation. Honey soothes the throat. Turmeric acts as an antioxidant, and onions help eliminate mucus. By using these remedies, you not only protect your health, but also help the recovery process be smoother and more effective. Remember, nature is always a reliable companion on your health journey.
And what I'm going to do now might surprise you. I'm going to put the onion on the bottom of the feet. So why do we put the onion on the bottom of the feet? We put the onion on the bottom of the feet because the bottom of the feet, or the feet I should say, are a reflex, and we're going to put the onion on the bottom of the feet for if someone has a bad cough in the night. And I'm going to use a plastic bag. Now at Misty Mountain we buy boxes of starch bags, so they're made out of starch, and that would be the best. Now if you don't have starch bags, you can certainly use a cloth. So you might use a cloth, put the onion like that and put it in the bag, and then what you do is you put your foot on the onion like that, and then you twist it around and put a sock on. So the bottom of the feet is touching the onion, and then you put a sock on and it holds it in place. Now my grandson, he was 3 at the time. I was visiting my daughter and he had a bad cough, and she gave him a hot bath, which always eases the cough, and put him to bed, and he was coughing and coughing and coughing and coughing. And we thought he'll be asleep in a minute, but he kept coughing and coughing. So after half an hour I said to Em, let's do the onion. So we got him up, we chopped up an onion and put half the onion chopped up on one foot and half on the other foot, and put him to bed. Not one more cough. It's almost unbelievable. You almost have to do it to believe how incredible it is. Not one more cough for the whole night with the onion on the bottom of his feet. So that's great for a night cough. Now I'm going to show you how to make an onion cough mixture. And the onion cough mixture is a very simple thing to do. You chop up the onion and then you layer it in a jar with honey. So we're going to chop it up small. Of course, the smaller the better, because the larger surface area you'll have. So I've got a jar here. So I'm going to put about ½ an inch in the jar, and then you drizzle honey, probably about a teaspoon, and then another layer of onion, again ½ an inch, and then another drizzle. Oops, that was a bit heavy-handed, doesn't matter. Then another layer of onion and another drizzle of honey and a final layer of onion. So if you had a house full of people that had a bad cold or a bad cough, you might chop up another onion and fill your jar. And then we finish with more onion. I'm doing this early in our demonstration because by the end of the night, the syrup will have formed. You see, if I put the jar on the side, all you see is that thick, gooey honey and onion. By the end of our demo, you will see a clear, runny fluid forming, and that's the cough syrup. After 24 hours, you strain the onion out, and you're left with your cough syrup, and you keep it in the fridge. How long can you keep it for? Well, a German lady told me that she'd had hers in the fridge for 8 years. Because honey doesn't go off, does it? So once you take the onion out, it will keep indefinitely. So for a little child, maybe under one, you might do 1/4 teaspoon. For a 2-year-old, you might do half a teaspoon, say 3 times a day. For a child from about 10 above, you might do a teaspoon 3 times a day. So if a child's got a cold or a cough or a bronchitis, any respiratory asthma, so you give them the teaspoon 3 times a day and put them to bed with the onion on the bottom of their feet, and everyone will sleep soundly that night.
Onions, a familiar vegetable in the kitchen, are also a very useful remedy for treating certain health issues, including earaches. Onions can be used both raw or cooked. In the case of earaches, you can start with cooked onions, as their warmth and natural properties can help reduce inflammation and soothe the pain.
One is for an earache. And it was the first poultice that I ever did. The little old lady next door told me about it. And she said, you steam an onion. Now you either steam it or dry bake it, because if you boil it, some of the healing properties in the onion will go into the water. So you usually do it. Now my helpers very efficiently took the skin and the end off, but you actually leave all that on because that'll help to hold it together. And then when it's soft, you cut it in half, and you cut it in half acrossways, so you're now looking at the rings. And what you can do is you can squeeze some of the juice from the steamed onion. It'll be boiling, and when it hits the spoon, it'll cool a little, and then you can put that into the ear, and that can bring a bit of relief. And then you wrap up the onion in a cloth. Now you can use a cloth like this, which looks like it's a cut up from an old sheet, or you could use a hand towel or a tea towel. So you wrap it over a few times, because remember, it's boiling hot. And when you get it to the right temperature, test it on your arm, then it can be placed on the ear, and then you will put a little sheet of plastic over that, which will keep the warmth in. And then you could bandage it on the ear, or you could put a little woolen beanie on to hold it there, or some people might feel to sleep and they will lay down on the ear. As long as you can keep it warm, you can keep it there. If it starts to get cold, then the ear will ache. Now this hot onion, the heat has an effect to relieve the pain, because whenever you've got pain, you've got cramping muscles, and moist heat relaxes cramping muscle, so that moist heat will do that. But also, the onion being a drawer will draw. Now sometimes the onion will cause a little hole to be made in the eardrum. If the body makes the hole, not a problem. If you stick something in your eardrum and make a hole, you got a problem. But if the body makes it, and often when the hole is made, then the pus will come out, and that can bring a lot of relief. But sometimes the onion will just reduce the inflammation to the point that the blood may take the pus away. Either way, it brings a lot of relief. Now, you might do an onion poultice on someone with an earache, and they get a lot of relief. And then a few hours later, the pain comes up again. Just do it again. You just keep doing it until there is no more ache. Sometimes one application is enough. Sometimes it needs to be done a couple of times a day for a few days. A friend of mine, she had to do it every day for a week. You know, whatever it takes, the body knows what it's doing, and if it brings relief, the body's saying, thank you, that's what I want you to do. The other place that you can use a cooked onion is on a boil. A man rang me up and he said that he had boils coming on the inside of his nose. They were very painful. And I said, well, it'll be a bit hard to put something on the inside of the nose, but I said you could steam up an onion and put it on the outside. He thought that sounded like a bit of work, until a few hours later the whole side of his face swelled up. So he steamed up an onion and put it on. And he said to me that it brought so much relief he was able to sleep. And when he woke up, he said the boil had burst and all the waste had come away. He said he has never got so much relief so quickly.
Next, let's look at a sibling of onions, garlic. A study has shown that garlic is 6 times more powerful than tetracycline, a common antibiotic. Garlic contains a compound called allicin, which gives it strong antibacterial and antiviral properties, making it a powerful natural remedy for combating pathogens, especially respiratory illnesses like coughs and colds.
Now in your books there's a recipe for the flu bomb, and the flu bomb has 6 ingredients. This is how I remember it. I remember it by 2s. Garlic and ginger. Garlic as much as you dare. Ginger probably about 1/4 teaspoon finely chopped, and the garlic you finely grate. I was going to say this is a great grater. That sounds like a pun, doesn't it? But I love graters like this, and when I'm cooking I just grate straight into my pot, and I'm going to use it in a minute. So you see it's quite fine, so you'd finely grate the ginger and the garlic into a cup. So there's your first 2 ingredients. The next 2 ingredients are 1 drop of eucalyptus oil. If you haven't got eucalyptus oil, you could use tea tree oil. 180 said, but Barbara, it says on the bottle you must not consume it. And I said, well, I'm not asking you to drink half a bottle. We've got some common sense, haven't we? No, it's not very common today, I realise that. So 1 drop. It's an age-old remedy. People have been using it for centuries. Well, Australia's the land of the eucalypt. 80-year-old lady told me this 40 years ago. She said when one child had a cold in their house, the mother would put a few grains of sugar on a teaspoon and a drop of eucalyptus oil, and they all had to have a dose. And, you know, it's been used for centuries. The reason why they say you must not take it is 40 years ago, a little boy in Tasmania, you've heard of Tasmania, that little island at the bottom of Australia, he drank a few mouthfuls of eucalyptus oil and went into a coma. So they banned it. Now there was such an uproar about it that they legalised it again, but if you buy eucalyptus oil in Australia, it's got poison on the bottle. Do not take, and it's because of that. How many young men have died from drinking a bottle of scotch at a party on a Saturday night? Has the alcohol been banned yet? No, it doesn't make much sense, does it? So we're looking at the 6 ingredients. So we've got garlic and ginger, 1 drop of eucalyptus oil, and cayenne pepper as much as you dare. Some can handle a sprinkle, some can handle half a teaspoon. Occasionally some can handle 1 teaspoon. We'll be talking about cayenne pepper in a minute. So there's 4 ingredients. The last 2 ingredients are the juice of a lemon and the teaspoon of honey. So it's a really expanded lemon and honey drink that many people have taken for colds. So if you feel a cold coming on, flu, any respiratory, of course, what's all the go at the moment is COVID. You take a flu bomb 3 times a day and it'll be gone in 3 days. Of course, at the same time, you've got to exercise and drink all your water and eat very lightly. Another way some people take it is they'll have a bowl of hot soup and they'll just grate the garlic straight into the soup. And you can certainly do that, but you've just got to have that clove 3 times a day to take the place of antibiotic. Even though they say it's equal to antibiotic, it's also antiviral. It's also antifungal. It's also anti-yeast, so it's a remarkable.
Honey and lemon are also excellent natural remedies that help boost the immune system and fight infections. They are gifts from nature that offer significant health benefits without chemicals or drugs. Both honey and lemon contain strong antioxidants and antibacterial properties that help the body fight off pathogens.
If the lemons are on the tree, I say use the juice of a lemon. If they're $1 a lemon, maybe you use half a lemon. But basically lemon juice you're using. And the last ingredient is honey, and usually it's approximately 1 teaspoon. Even if you put in 4 teaspoons, it does not really mask the other ingredients. And then you mix that in about 1/3 of a cup of hot water. Now, if someone has a flu or a cold or a sinus, it's usually taking one of those 3 times a day. So that's the flu bomb. Usually by the 3rd day, you don't need it anymore. That's quick, isn't it?
Cinnamon is another natural remedy for cough due to compounds like cinnamaldehyde and eugenol, which have anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and antiviral effects, helping to alleviate symptoms of cough caused by infections or respiratory inflammation. One of the simplest and most effective ways to use cinnamon for a cough is to mix it with honey. You can add a bit of cinnamon powder to a cup of warm water, add a spoonful of honey, stir well, and drink it in the morning or evening. This method not only helps soothe the cough, but also reduces inflammation and improves respiratory health naturally, providing comfort and aiding a quick recovery. Thank you for joining us in exploring these natural remedies for cold and cough. If you found this information helpful, please share and subscribe to the channel for more simple and effective health tips. See you in the next video.